Gundam Astray, Gold Frame Amatsu. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs from gundam.tk, and the Gundam Astray Gold Frame Amatsu is all put together, which means you've got all these leftover plates, and they're still looking good because of the amount of sheer gold make parts that they're going to give you, plus the glossy black, plus the interesting A-plate. So check out the earlier parts for the unboxing, but now it's time to take a look at the parts and see all the features that are included with this kit. Here are the body parts when it's all put together. I've got the feet separated just to show them off. The most exciting feature though, look at that left arm and look at that right arm. Completely different in the shoulders and the arm and the armaments. That's going to make for a very interesting kit, I think. The weapons are of course going to be dominated by the huge backpack, which is the Magano Ikutachi. And then you're going to come over here to something a little bit more easy to say. We have the Tricaros Kai from the Blitz Gundam, before moving on to the unique feature of this one from Seed Destiny. It's the Totsukano Tsurugi. And then you're going to have the wires, which are able to take off those two purple tips down there at the bottom, and you can use the Magano Shira Koho, which I'm just going to call by other names for the rest of the review, I think. Bottom to top with the parts here, and it's worth noting that this is not a master grade, so I certainly don't expect the kind of mobility that we're going to get from there. However, in terms of looks, I don't know if there's a cooler looking limb in all of Gundam. Just the fact that the black looks great, the red parts down here, they're not stickers, and that you've just got that gold frame sticking out all over the place just makes for this into a visual treat. You've got red parts up here on the thigh, and in terms of mobility, you can bend the knee very, very well, and it actually has a second bend point up here, but outside of that, nothing is going to move except down at the ankle, where it's going to move this much and this much off to the side. The feet certainly look interesting. You've got a red part here, the gold all over the place for the highlights. Two complaints though, no mobility whatsoever. However, my bigger complaint being, this is from the girl version of the Amatsu, which came later in the Astray series. I would have liked to have gotten the masculine, if you will, version of the feet, where they're just going to stand flat. I think just giving you the choice of the two would have made this kit all the more better. To the waist section, which is pretty simple. You've just got a part here on the front, which is going to move up and down. The fact that you do get these parts here are just the icing on top of the cake. It's shining all over the place, but that gold really stands out. You've got the side skirts here, which are going to pivot, and on the back you've got this giant part, which should add a cool visual effect once you actually put on the backpack. Now in terms of the weapons, this one here, you plug it in, and then you're able to rest these swords on the hips as needed. The light from the neck here is just blinding, but in terms of the rest of the colors, you're going to have this gray purple at the bottom and a red sticker down there. Somewhat disappointing that they don't give you a red part. There are stickers all over the body here. Here you're going to have some shiny black with the gold underneath. The fact that you've got the gold showing through on 4 points down there is fantastic. Before you get to that monstrous neck, so many Gundams you need to spray paint them gray or something. However, this one, fantastic out of the box. Something that intrigued me though is the way you attach the shoulders on here. It's actually a drop down mechanism into the polycap, so that's going to be interesting to see how that works in practice. And yes, if you want to put on the backpack, you're going to be covering up the most expensive part of the kit. The arm section of this review is going to take twice as long because yes, there's two of them. Now this one is from the gold frame, and it shows just in the fact that you've got, yes, gold frame sticking out all over the place. So this is the shoulder mount, which is going to be sort of interesting the way it plugs down in. Shiny black all over the place. Big disappointment up at the top in the fact that this red part, yes, I know it would be hard to attach a red part into something when it's this thin, but it's a red sticker that just wraps around. Now it actually wraps around really, really well, so I hope that doesn't prove to be a problem in the future. Would have been nice to have more parts there. Now the original gold frame had white extra accent parts down around there. This one went all black. But that's where we get to this new weapon, let's call it the Tsumuhano Tachi. And anyway, it's Wolverine for short. What you can do is you can pop up this purple part here and slide the three claws forward, and then they click into place quite satisfactorily. Now, how this is going to work in action, it's just on a little rotating point there, so don't expect too much from it in terms of mobility. However, with that the right arm of the Gundam getting lots of attention, anybody who doesn't pay attention to its left could be in trouble. It's easy to get distracted with aesthetics, but yes, there are still a few things that matter, like the fact that you can rotate this all around. The elbow bend, check this out, you're actually able to bring it all the way up. Very, very impressive for that. And again, just the fact it's gold, it doesn't look like there's any big, huge holes down there. And you've got the wrist able to move up like this, so much better than I expect, but again, it's really the looks that are going to be carrying this. Here's the right arm with the similar shoulder mount mechanism, but look at that shoulder, completely different. You've got the purple with some gold parts down there, red stickers, and a red part. So tons of color variety and a very interesting arm. And when you look at that, it's just plain your purple gray there for the elbow and the black parts. So very Gundam-ish. Fans of the Blitz Gundam will be very familiar with that. And I like the fact that the manipulators down here are purple and not gold. For this arm's mobility, you're able to move the shoulder up and down like that. It can rotate around and you're going to get a bend. Double bend mechanism there for the elbow, and the wrist does not have a unique move like the Gold Frame's arm does. In addition to the open right manipulator, you're going to get this one for holding any weapons. You do get more gold manipulators for the right arm. Unfortunately, this black part here isn't going to fit on very well, or at all actually, so instead you're going to be stuck pretty much with the Blitz's purple hand even if you don't want to. Without the weapons on, here's how the two look. Notice how different the shoulders are, that clear, thin part there, the overwhelming gold, and the simple black there on its right. Very intriguing and worth the purchase almost just for this. Let me tell you, you're not buying this kit for those two lame swords on its hips when you've got these huge Maguno Ikutachis. First, the shiny glossy black it stands out with just a boom factor, a little bit of gold, and lots of stickers unfortunately. But for the mount mechanism, you're going to plug in this here and you're going to attach this polycap onto the back, and in terms of mobility, you're able to spin this all the way around and you're able to bend this all the way up. You've also got the ability to bend this part down, and you can detach this and attach that to the weapon to have it shoot, or attach it to the wire to go shoot off as another weapon. For the wires, you're going to get two purple parts which are going to serve as attachments here. You'll just have a small one that this part just attaches onto. On the back, even more gold details down there, including some nice lines. No need to line it really. Again, the glossy black. One thing I wasn't a fan of though is that these parts here are sort of like a staircase. You've got these leveled part or raised parts here. When you put the sticker on, you've got to put it on really, really well, and if you don't, it's going to look terrible. A nice red part to stick in there would have been great, but probably something you'd only get in a master grade. Outside of adding to the bulk on the hips by putting these swords on for this RE2 version, they are single pieces, completely unexciting from a Plamo perspective. If only somebody was playing the piano now instead of having his arm stolen by an Astray. But I digress. You've got big purple parts over here with a little bit of lining. You can sort of liven them up. But this glossy black, you've got the red stickers there. But to be honest, you're going to spend most of your time, I think, looking at it at this angle. So the fact that you've got the darts on full display there and no red, I don't know. The inside seems a little bit dull compared to the outside, although at the cost of not having seals. Anyway, you've got a cool mount mechanism here for the darts. You can flick them out like this. But the way they actually fit in there is, if you can see, there's a little tiny notch on each of the darts that fits in there. So the fact that they took the effort to keep them inside, whether it's pointing up or down, yes, the ones that are in there are in there. If you look really carefully, these darts, when they come out of the box and off the runners, may not actually be perfectly flat. So you'll either want to bend them down or just trick them into seeming that they're in the right position, at least from the front. Now, I said I love the looks of this and the weapons of this, but it's the head of this Gold Frame Amatsu that adds to its already incredible unique factors. First of all, there's no gold, which is a little bit disappointing, except for the fact that you got a big chunk on the back where you're never going to see it, but it really does bring it into the red-blue frame family there. Now, you're going to have this black part down at the bottom, which is actually covering up the little red goatee. Very easy to knock off, so be very careful with that. And this part here doesn't fit on very well, which hopefully will allow the head to move around when it's plugged into the shoulders, but just something that you've got to be careful of. The disappointing parts, you've got a blue camera eye up there, is the fact that you've got these red seals, and you'll notice that when you put seals onto rounded parts, you're going to get parts that don't fit down that well. Over here, they're not that bad until you actually look at them carefully from the back. You can see that they're not on perfectly, but the head for looks fantastic. It has a menacing air and is unique amongst all Gundams, and I think the ultimate topper to this great-looking MS. Now, one of the first things I thought when I put this whole thing together is, hey, I'm going to just build a second gold frame arm, and then you can swap them on and off, and why not? Except for the fact that you don't actually get enough polycaps. If you build this arm, you're not going to have enough to have this. So you do have the parts, because a lot of these are unused from the regular just frame plates, but unfortunately you're not going to have enough unless you go scrap from other ones to actually swap off this Blitz arm and do double gold. I can't stress this enough how much fun it was to go from these plates, these great looking plates, and turn them into all these great looking and unique parts and weapons. So for the build, I think that this was a treat, and I look forward to seeing how it goes together, except for the fact that yes, it is lacking in mobility in quite a few ways, and quite a few things that you've got to be careful of, and I would have rather had more red parts. Yes, there are problems. However, a lot more positives, so let's see how it stacks up, what it's all put together. So why don't you let me know what you think of the parts down below with a comment. Always appreciate it. Please hit like if you do for the video, and I'll see you next time. Lots more to come. See you, everybody.